Good day and thanks for joining us for Lesson 2.10, Problem Solving Fraction Operations. Today's I can statement: I can use the strategy, use a model, to help solve a division problem. The Common Core Standard: apply and extend previous understandings of multiplication and division to divide fractions by fractions. Join with me as we begin to unlock the problem. Sam had 3/4 pound of granola. Each day he took 1/8 pound to school for a snack. If he had 1/4 pound left over, how many days did Sam take the granola to school? What do I need to find? Well, I need to find how many days did Sam take the granola to school. What information do I need to use? Well, let's look at our original problem. Sam started with what? He started with 3/4 pound of granola, and he took 1/8 pound each day, and he had 1/4 pound left over. How will I use the information? I will draw a bar model to find how much granola Sam used and how many days he took it to school. Let's go ahead and solve the problem. Here you can see we know he started with 3/4 pound of granola. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and here's our additional to show the whole. So the model shows that Sam used 3/4 pound of granola. In our original problem, it said that he had 1/4 of a pound left over. So what we're going to do is again, here's our 3/4 that we're using from our original whole. He has 1/4 left over. So this is left over. So we're not going to really count it in our total that we need to find out how many days he spent. So essentially, we're only really dealing with half. Because if you look at our whole, this is 1/2, this is 1/2. So this is a half. And it said he took 1/8 pound every day. So how many eighths are in this half? If these are fourths, if we cut them in half, and just to be sure, draw yours all the way out. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces. So here's 1/8. So you say, how many 1/8 pieces are in a half? Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 groups of 1/8 are equivalent to a half, so 1/2 divided by 1/8 is 4. Again, how many 1/8s are in a half? 4. How did we get that? Remember, we started with 3/4 pounds of granola. He had 1/4 pound left over. So that gives us a 1/2 pound to deal with right here. And we want to take that 1/2 pound and divide it into eighths because he took 1/8 pound to school every day. So Sam took granola to school for 4 days. Our math talk says, explain how you can justify your answer by solving the problem a different way. We're going to go ahead and solve the problem algebraically. Looking at your problem, he has 3/4 pound of granola. We know that he is going to have 1/4 pound left over. So I'm going to subtract 1/4 of a pound out because we know he's going to have it. And then we know he takes 1/8 of it every day to school. Well, in this case, when you are adding or subtracting fractions, you have to have a common denominator. Our denominator is common, so 3 minus 1 is 2, and our parts are 4. So we have 2/4 divided by 1/8. I'm going to write that up here so we can see it. The number 1 rule is AB form. Then we draw our arrows. Our 2/4 stays the same. It does not change. We change our division sign to multiplication. We immediately take the reciprocal of the divisor, the number to the right of the division sign. The reciprocal of 1/8 is 8/1. In this case, we can go ahead and we can simplify the 8 and the 4. They have the greatest common factor of 4, so 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. Next, we multiply numerator by numerator, which is 4, and denominator by denominator, which is 1, and 4/1 can be simplified to 4. So you can use the bar model to show, or you can justify your answer by solving it algebraically. Join with me as we try another problem. For a science experiment, Mr. Barrows divides 2/3 cup of salt into small jars. Each jar is going to contain 1/12 of a cup. He has 1/6 of a cup of salt left over. How many jars does he fill? What do I need to find? We need to find how many jars does he fill. Next, what information do I need to use? Well, we need to use the fact that he starts with 2/3 cup, that he has 1/6 cup left over, and the remaining he divides into 1/12 cups evenly. Next, how will I use this information? I will draw a bar model. Woohoo! You know how I love models. to help find how much salt Mr. Barrows uses and how many jars he fills. So we're going to use the information from our problem. He starts with 2/3 cup. We're going to have 1/6 cup left over, and we're going to divide that remainder into 1/12. Let's go ahead and draw the model below. We know from our problem that Mr. Barrow starts with 2/3. So here's our total, and we're going to break it into thirds. And we'll go ahead and we'll highlight 2/3 of it. So we're only dealing with 2/3 because that's what he has. We also know from our story problem that he has 1/6 cup left over. So we'll go ahead and we'll draw down our next bar. And if these are in thirds, how do I get them into sixths? Exactly, cut them in half. So this is what we originally started with right here, 2/3. And we know he has 1/6 right here left over. So all we're dealing with now then is these 3/6. Or in this case, we know that 3/6 is equivalent to 1/2. And he's going to put 1/12 in each cup. So we'll go ahead and we'll draw our next line, and we're going to break this one into, exactly, 12ths. Well, if these are in sixes, how do I go from sixes to 12ths? Exactly, we're going to divide it in half again. So these should be 12ths. Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 12ths. So now again, we're only going up to this point. How many 12ths then are in 1/2? Because this was 3/6 here. This total here is 3/6, which is equivalent to 1/2. So how many 12ths are in 1/2? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So Mr. Barrows will be able to fill 6 jars. Again, remember, we started with 2/3. We had 1/6 left over, so we don't count it. So essentially, we're only dealing with these 3/6, and we know that 3/6 is half. So we can say how many 12ths are in 1/2. The model here shows that Mr. Barrow uses 1/2 cup of salt, which we're showing you right here. This is what he uses. He uses 1/2 cup of salt. 6 groups of 1/12 are equivalent to 1/2. So in this sense, we're using 1/2 divided by 1/12 equals 6. We say how many 12ths are in 1/2. Well, here's our 1/2 right here. How many 12ths? Because we broke it into 12ths. There are 6. So Mr. Barrows can fill 6 jars. We're going to write an expression you could use to solve the problem. This is how we're going to go ahead and do it algebraically. It tells us we start with 2/3 cup of salt. We know we're going to have 1/6 cup left over. Then we're going to divide that amount, which is remaining, into 1/12 to go into our jar. The number one rule when we are adding or subtracting fractions is you have to have a common denominator. Least common multiple of 3 and 6 is 6. So my denominator is going to be a 6. 3 times what got us 6? 3 times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4. 6 is our denominator here, so the 1 will go there. Now our denominators are the same, so we can subtract our numerators. 4 minus 1 is 3, and we have it out of 6 parts, 3/6, or 1/2. 3/6 divided by 1/12. It's already in AB form. When you're dividing, it has to be in AB form, so we can draw our multiplication symbol and our reciprocal. Our 3/6 never changes. We change our division sign to multiplication. We immediately take the reciprocal of the divisor, the number immediately following the division sign. The reciprocal of 1/12 is 12 over 1. In this case, we can simplify the 6 and the 12. The greatest common factor that they share is 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1, and 12 divided by 6 is 2. In this case, we're going to multiply numerator by numerator. 3 times 2 is 6. And denominator by denominator, 1 times 1 is 1, and we'll simplify that. 6 over 1 is 6. So here we just demonstrated both the algebraic way and the model way. Woohoo to the model, though. Let's try share and show problem number 1 on page 89. There is 4/5 pound of sand in the class science supplies. If 1 scoop of sand weighs 1/20th of a pound, I want to know how many scoops of sand can Maria get from the class supplies and still leave 1/2 pound in the supplies. So in this case, we're going to start with, there is 4/5 pound. 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, and here's our 5/5 to show our whole. But we want to leave 1/2 pound in the supply, and we know 1/2 is right here. So we want to leave this 1/2. So essentially, we're only dealing with this side. And what I would go ahead and do, since I cut that one in half to show half, I would cut these in half then too. And you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They represent 1/10. Well, in this case, I'm really only dealing with these right here. So I really have only 3/10 that I'm dealing with. We have 3/10. And I want to know how many 1/20ths are going to go into the 3/10. So I have 3/10. and I want to divide it into 1/20th pound. We can do this multiple ways. We'll go ahead, and if I have tenths here, how do I get it to 20ths? Exactly. Cut it in half. Cut each one of those blocks in half, and they now become 1/20th. So the orange marks will represent your 20. And you can go ahead and count all of these and see there's 20. So now how many 1/20ths are there right here in this 3/10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we know that Maria can get 6 scoops of sand from the 4/5 pound that is there while still leaving 1/2 pound left over for another class. We can also do this problem algebraic. We know that we are starting with 4/5 pound. We know that we want to have 1/2 pound left over, and then we want to divide that into 1/20th scoops. The number one rule when adding or subtracting fractions is you have to have a common denominator. Order of ops tells us we'll do the parentheses first. Well, what's the least common multiple of 5 and 2? 10. In this case, 5 times what got you 10? 2. So 4 times 2 is 8. 2 times what got you 10? 2 times 5. So 5 times 1 is 5. Our denominators are the same. Now we can look at our numerators and go ahead and subtract. 8 minus 5 is 3, and it's out of 10. 3/10. Notice we started with 3/10 over here as well. 1/10, 2/10, 3/10. And we're going to divide that into 1/20th. It's already in AB form, so we'll change that to multiplication, and we'll take the reciprocal of 1/20th. So we have 3/10 times 20 over 1. We know that our 20 and our 10 share a common factor of 10. The greatest common factor is 10. They actually share the factors of 1, 2, 5, and 10. So 10 divided by 10 is 1, and 20 divided by 10 is 2. Then we do numerator times numerator is 6, and denominator times denominator is 1, and 6 over 1 simplifies to 6. So here it is for you modeling. Woohoo! Here it is for you algebraically. Again, we're reading the words that are here, and we're creating a mathematical sentence and problem. What we would like for you to do tonight is try the share and show problems on page 89, problem number 2 and 3. I can use the strategy use a model to help solve a division problem. And we'd like to leave you with, we become what we think about. Earl Nightingale. Think how awesome you are. Have a great evening. Thank you.